we have reached up to sixth chapter now. We will be discussing, I think, sixth chapter, verse number 7 to 9. So we have the pleasure of hearing on these three verses from His Grace, Padmanabha Achyuta Prabhu. So over to you, Padmanabha Prabhu. Please enlighten us. Hare Krishna.
No grace. Elementary. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for accepting the service. Hare Krishna.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. And, welcome all Matajis, Prabhujis for this Sunday Bhagavad Gita class, ISKCON West Post. This is the way Vidura Prabhu, start. So I am also announcing in the same way.
ISKCON West, outpost of Seshadri.
Outpost of Seshadri.
ISKCON Seshadri.
Okay. Fine. So the today's class the flow will be like this. So I'll be reading the slokas, and then we'll be understanding the connection between previous chapter and today's chapter, and we'll be understanding the previous slokas and today's slokas, and then the discussion on today's three slokas, and then summary of these slokas, and then if there is any question and answer, we can take it at the end. So this is the flow of today's session. So let me share the screen. And today's slokas, and the chapter number is 6th chapter, 7, 8, 9. Hare Krishna. Jitatmanah prashantasya Paramatma samahitaha sitoshna sukha dukkeshu tata manapama anayoha. Jitatmanah prashantasya Paramatma samahitaha sitoshna sukha dukkeshu tata mana apamanyaha. Jitatmanah prashantasya Paramatma samahitaha sitoshana sukha dukkeshu tata mana apamanayo. Synonyms. Jitatmataha, of one who has conquered his mind. Prashantasya, who has attained tranquility by such control over the mind. Paramatma, the super soul. Samahitaha, approached completely. Shita, in cold. Ushna, heat. Sukha, happiness. Dukkeshu, and distress. Tatha, also. Mana, in honor. Apamanyayo, and dishonor. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. For he attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Purport. Actually, every living entity is intended to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. When the mind is misled by the external illusionary energy, one becomes entangled in material activities. Therefore, as soon as one's mind is controlled through one of the yoga systems, one should be considered to have already reached the destination. One has to abide by superior dictation when one's mind is fixed on the superior nature. He has no alternative but to follow the dictation of the Supreme. The mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of the Paramatma or Super Soul. Because this transcendental position is at once achieved by one who is in Krishna consciousness, the devotee of the Lord is unaffected by the dualities of material existence, namely distress and happiness, cold and heat, etc. This state is practical samadhi or absorption in the Supreme. Next sloka. Jnana Vijnana Trapta Triptatma Utasto Vijitindriyaha Yuktayuti Uchate Yogi Samalostrashma Kanchanaha Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Utasto Viji Indriyaha Yuktayuti Uchati Yogi Samalostrashma Kanchanaha Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Utasto Vijitendriyaha Yukta iti Uchati Yogi Samalostrashma Kanchanaha Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Utasto Vijay Indriyaha Yukta iti Uchati Yogi Samalostrashma Kanchanaha. Word to word translation. Jnana, by acquired knowledge. Vijnana, unrealized knowledge. Tripta, satisfied. Atma, a living entity. Utastaha, spiritually situated. Vijita Indriyaha, sensually controlled. Yuktaha, competent for self-realization. Iti, thus. Uchyati, is said. Yogi, a mystic. Sama, equipoised. Lostra, pebbles. Asma, stone. Kanchanaha, gold. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-control. He sees everything, whatever it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Purport. Book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. This is stated as follows. Ataha Sri Krishna Namadi Na Bhavet Grahayam Indriyaha Sevon Mukhahe Jivadu Swayam Eva Spruti Adaha. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.234. This Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. No one can become Krishna consciousness simply by mundane scholarship. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A Krishna consciousness person has realized knowledge by the grace of Krishna because he is satisfied with pure devotional service by realized knowledge. One becomes perfect by transcendental knowledge. One can remain steady in his convictions, but by mere academic knowledge, one can be easily deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. It is the realized soul who is the actually self-controlled because he is surrendered to Krishna. He is transcendental because he has nothing to do with mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship and mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to others, are of no greater value than pebbles or stones. So we'll move to the next sloka, the last one, 9th sloka. Surun Mitraya Mitrari Udashina Madhyastha Devasya Bandhushu Sadhushva Apicha Papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishyate Shurun Mitrari Udashina Madhyastha Devasya Bandhushu Sadhushva Apicha Papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishyate Shuhurun Mitrari Udasina Madhyastha Deveshya Bandushu Sadushva Apicha Papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishyate. Word to word translation. Suhrit, to well-wishers by nature, Mitra, benefactor with affection, Ari, enemies, Udashina, neutrals between belligerents, Madhyastha, mediator between belligerents, Devashya, the envious, sorry, not Devashya, Dvashya, the envious, Bandeshu, and the relatives or well-wisher, Sadhushu, unto the pious, Api, as well as Cha and Papeshu, unto the sinners, Samabuddhihi, having equal intelligence, Vishishyate, is far advanced. There is no purport, only translation. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral, mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and sinners, all with an equal mind. So here the 3 slokas reading, ends. Om Ajnana Timurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chashkuram Vilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadanti Swapadantiham Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatrubhasya Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschasya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. So let us start with, as I mentioned earlier, the connection between previous chapter and present chapter. As we all know, we are in 6th chapter now. In the previous chapter, we discussed about Ashtanga Yoga. Establishment is an impractical path. In the beginning only, Krishna declares that it is impractical path. So we learned in the previous chapter verses 27 and 28. So this is the advanced stages of Ashtanga Yoga like that. And one, before getting into that stage of Ashtanga Yoga, as per the 5th chapter, one should have these 3 qualities. One is they should come to the stage of purified by Nishkama Karma Yoga. That is the reason Krishna refuted this particular yoga process. And then next is one must be in full control of mind. So that is also a difficulty in today's Kali Yuga, and one must be completely indifferent to and unaffected by all material things. So one should come to this stage, then that person could be considered for the Dhyana Yoga. They are, Ashtanga Yoga, one could continue, right? So in Dhyana Yoga is part of Ashtanga Yoga. Advancing in, so this particular chapter, deals with, Dhyana. So it is divided into different sections. So far, we have covered two sections, and we are in the end of second section, and there are many more sections. And the third section is out of our scope, but we should understand, this. What is this third section deals about this sixth chapter. So let us understand. The first section deals about Ashtanga yogis like Nishkama Karma yogi engage in detached work to advance. So he is a Ashtanga yogi, he is a yogi trying to advance from the detached work, not the renouncing the work, detaching the engage in a detached work to advance. So that is what first section of this Dhyana Yoga, and then second division is that is what today's discussion as well as our previous slokas connectivity. A yogi may even give up Nishkama Karma Yoga when his mental control reaches the stage of regarding well-wishers, the envious, pious, and sinners equally. We will discuss the second section. That is what today's topic. Let me touch upon the third section is the results. The result are practicing all this Dhyana Yoga, etc. Ashtanga Yoga. The result are Yoga Ruda. Yoga Ruda stage means the perfectional stage of a yogi attaining through this Ashtanga Yoga process, and ultimately the vision of the super soul. So these are the three sections. The third section is out of our scope, but even though we should know this, the perfectional stage means the vision of the super soul. So one should perform all his activity by keeping the vision of the super soul. So now this is a connectivity between the previous chapter and present chapter. Now these slokas and previously discussed slokas, how these all are, the theme only I am going to share. Now presently we are in 7th sloka to 9th sloka. The previous 6 slokas, let me give little background, then we can connect easily what these 3 slokas, why we have opted for these slokas, what is the uniqueness in this 3 slokas, I will tell at the end. Before that, these 7 slokas, let us have, in a nutshell what it is. In the first sloka, 6.1, one should not prematurely renounce his duties. Like, I'm a true sannyasi, true yogi, like that, should not renounce his duties. That is what we discussed in the first sloka, 6.1. In 6.2, detached action is same as renunciation. Very clear statement by Krishna. Then third sloka, 2 levels of yoga practice. In that, one is the beginners is one should continue to perform his activities, giving up the desire to enjoy the fruit only. That is what we discussed in the third sloka. And then the fourth sloka, this verse explains the Yoga Ruda stage. That means advanced stage. Right? What is meant by this advanced stage? One should know. Right? And then fifth and sixth sloka describes, or the theme about that is role of mind as friend or enemy in yoga. So we discussed about yoga, and what is this process of what is this Ashtanga yoga. So in this 2 slokas, 5th and 6th slokas, role of mind as friend and enemy in yoga. And now I am connecting with today's verses. These are the symptoms of Yoga Ruda stage. As we discussed, symptoms of Yoga Ruda stage means this is the advanced stage. Okay, I got it. As a yogi, one is advanced, but what are the symptoms? How can we measure this particular jiva or this particular soul reached, the perfectional stage of yoga process. That is called Yoga Rudha stage, means the perfectional or the advanced stage of yoga. So this is what today's topic is all about. And before understanding this, thus in fifth and sixth sloka, thus Krishna discourages Arjuna by indicating impracticality of path. This dhyana yoga is not practical, is telling. So why it is not practical and how it could be performed, all other advanced things will be the third section of this chapter. Now today we are going to discuss only about what is that called symptoms of yoga rudra stage. These three slokas we have discussed. So let me start with the summary only for better understanding. So these three slokas and that word to word translation, meaning and translation and purport just now we read. And what is the nutshell about today's topic? So what and all we are going to learn. So I have written like this. What we are going to learn from sloka 7 to 9. There are 4 points I will tell you. Just try to remember these 4 points. From 7th sloka, completely neutral to all material existence and dualities. What is the stage? Yoga Rudha stage. First symptom is completely neutral to all material existence and dualities. Then 8th sloka, the yogi sees all objects equally, fully satisfied by jnana and vijnana. This is the second sloka. And from third sloka, sees all people equally. This is the most advanced stage. Sees all people equally. So that's all. The class is over. So let us understand these 3 or 4 points in a more elaborated way according to each slokas and the purport. So I will tell the highlighted things about that particular sloka, and we will get into deeper understanding about the purport of these slokas. So here in the 7th sloka we have seen there are 6 items mentioned by Krishna. So these are the 6 items one should understand. What for this understanding is all about, to understand the dualities, right? An ordinary person will have the discrimination among all this. The elevated person does not depend or does not care about all this. So here there are 6 items mentioned by Krishna. Let us see what is the Shita. Shita means what? Cold. Ushna. Ushna means heat. Sukha. Sukha means happiness. Dukkha. Dukkeshu. Distress. Mana. Honor. Apamana. Dishonor. So there are 6 items Krishna mentioned here. Cold, heat, happiness, distress, honor, dishonor. The true yogi or this yoga rudha stage person least bother about all this. What comes, what goes, he meditates only on Paramatma. What Krishna says here, the first in the 7th sloka, the real yogi who focused, whatever it may be the dualities like this. There are so many other dualities Krishna mentioned in different places. But here in this sloka, Krishna took Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana, Apamana. So these are the 6 items Krishna took. So let us look into the purport, what exactly the purport deals here. So in the purport, the first thing, there are 4 things are there in the 7th sloka. So the first thing what we are going to understand is intended goal for every living entity. So every living entity has intended goal. What is that? Right? As we discussed, to abide by the dictation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So this is the goal of every yogi. this should be the goal of every yogi. What is that yogi's goal supposed to be? Everyone's, that means the personality of Godhead who is seated in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. And as per his dictation, one should lead his life, or he should fine tune his activities according to the Paramatma's instruction. The second point of the purport, deviation from the goal because of misled mind. The first point we discussed, as per the Paramatma's instruction, one should act. But deviation from the goal because of misled mind. So why this, misled, or we are deviating from the goal of living entity is when the mind is misled by the external illusionary energy called Maya. One becomes entangled in material activities. He is an ordinary person. So he come to the stage, I am not, I is not coming to the stage, I am not the body, I am the spirit soul. He is still in the bodily conception due to illusionary energy or external illusionary energy, right? But the real goal supposed to be coming out of that as per the instruction of Paramatma, one should act. Fine. So these are the two dualities explained here. What is the solution to avoid this deviation? Why we are forgetting, Paramatma's goal or instructions is what is the solution to not to forget this? There are 3 points given. Mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. Superior dictation, whatever there in the Bhagavad Gita, that is called superior dictation. Remaining everything is bogus. We can, come out of all this, the mundane scholar in the next sloka, those things are there. So here the mind must admit some superior dictation and follow it. Superior dictation means Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? When the mind is fixed on the superior nature, he has no alternative, already fixed, true yogi, but to follow the dictations of the Supreme. So if the one try to fix in that consciousness, then no other alternate. Then effect of controlling the mind, right? In this, Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, we are controlling our mind. And one automatically follows the dictation of Paramatma. If one tries to do all this, yogic process, controlling of mind, automatically follows the dictation of Paramatma. It's very clear. So this is the third point of the 7th sloka's purport. What is the conclusive statement in this 7th sloka is, Krishna consciousness offers this very practical solution. So these all are, theoretical, but Krishna consciousness offers this very practical solution. How? A devotee automatically follows the Lord's dictation and therefore he is unaffected by dualities. What is this dualities? Just now, there are 6 items Krishna clarified. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Mana, Apamana. So these are the 6 items Krishna mentioned as dualities. So the pure devotee follows the Lord's dictation and therefore he is unaffected by dualities, being fully absorbed in the Supreme. So this state is called practical samadhi. This is the first symptom. Krishna explains the true yogi who will come out of this dualities by thinking of Paramatma realization. So this is, so practically how to understand, these all are the things, okay. So somebody says, the false prestige, somebody will glorify artificially for material benefit. Oh sir, you are very learned, so you are so great. In Kali Yuga, those who have so much of, word jugglery. So I know these many words that this. So they call it as they could be addressed as Pandita, or the only by external appearance, the one who looks like a realized person, and going behind such a people. So these all are the things, and some people practical things. Once if the person comes to Krishna consciousness, many people are living um, eating outside food, and then somebody will get into all this the mundane discussions. That film actor is like this, the gossips, and this politician that this, and watching movie. Already we are in Maya, and so all these things. The true yogi will try to come out of all this kind of stuff. For example, many youngsters, sharing of pornography, all these things. So this I heard from one of the senior, Maharaj, class. So that means the true yogi means who give least weightage for all this. They have no taste for all this pornography, hotel food, and false prestige. Socially, I am this. So I work for this corporate company, and I work for and I have this accumulated this degree from so and so prestigious institute, etc., etc. All these material things has no value in front of a true yogi. He thinks everything spiritually. So this is the meaning of 7th sloka. And we will move to the 8th sloka's understanding. Fine. So here also there are 5 points we could understand from the purport. Then I will come to the sloka. Say, mundane scholarship is not, this is a second symptom. The first symptom we have discussed about yoga ruga stage. That means the one who is advanced in yoga practice. The second symptom we are going to understand now. The mundane scholarship is not enough. Somebody may here Prabhupada mentions, somebody may recite the slokas left, right, very big scholar in Sanskrit, English, or you name any language. Yes, these all are material, no doubt. And book knowledge without realization of supreme truth is useless. We may have big degree and so many other material qualification, but those all are knowledge of information. And this concept or this particular thing, what spiritual concept is a knowledge about transformation, not about information. So this transformation will happen only for yogi, not for any mundane scholarship. That is not enough. Prabhupada clearly mentioned in the purport. And how to realize book knowledge? Very simple question. Yes, we have refuted, this mundane scholarship is not enough. Now Prabhupada raising, another question. How to realize this book knowledge, that knowledge of information? Prabhupada gives solution here from the scripture, from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. By rendering transcendental devotional service to the Lord. How to realize this book knowledge? By rendering transcendental devotional service to the Lord. So this is the solution given. And then in the third point, Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. Right? So this is called Vijnana. Vijnana means this is the pure science. The science means which does not change. So this Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. How to understand this? How one becomes Krishna consciousness, not just by mundane scholarship. One must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. Right now we are associating with Srila Prabhupada through his purport. So this is the right way of associating. One could come out of this, bookish knowledge. They will come to, jnana stage to vijnana stage. So they will get this knowledge, through authorized, bona fide spiritual master, one must be fortunate enough to associate with a person who is in pure consciousness. A person like Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. And then the fourth point in this eighth verse purport, a Krishna consciousness person is a realized soul. Why he is a realized soul? There are triple S mentioned here. What is this triple S? Satisfied, self, scholarship, steady. Satisfied, steady, self, scholarship. What is this 4S? A Krishna consciousness person is a realized soul. He is 4S. So how to understand this 4S? Satisfied. What is satisfied? Satisfied with the devotional service. That is the answer to that. Second is steady. Convictions by strength of his realized knowledge. This knowledge is the Krishna conscious knowledge is the realized knowledge. The third is self. How to understand this third is self. Controlled by the strength of his realized knowledge. Previously, it is convictions by strength of his realized knowledge. The second is the controlled by the strength of his realized knowledge. Right? Controlled. Then last is, fourth is scholarship. How to understand this scholarship? Mundane and mental speculation, which are gold to others, are as good as pebbles or stones. Right? How to understand this? I will connect this when we discuss this particular S. And then the conclusive statement in this 8th sloka is, need to associate with Krishna consciousness persons is emphasized. How to understand this association of Krishna conscious persons emphasized? So here Prabhupada mentions Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. So we have to associate to get this knowledge from the true devotee, and cannot be understood by mundane scholarship. So I can read all the slokas. I am a big scholar in Sanskrit. No, this is not that kind of knowledge. It is a revealed knowledge. Then real fortune, to associate with one in pure consciousness. This is a real fortune, right? So this is what one could understand. For need to associate with Krishna consciousness person is emphasized. So let me go to the verse of 6.9. So in that verse, it is mentioned that there are three items. One is pebbles, another one is stone, and another one is kanchana. Kanchana means gold. So lostra, pebbles, ashma, stone, kanchana. Kanchana means gold. So for a realized person, anything is matter. Gold also a matter, stone also a matter, pebble also a matter. The realized soul or realized yogi does not have any business with all these material matters. Matter itself, material only. So he does not have any attraction for whether it is a gold or stone or pebbles. Right? The one of our Bhagavatam example. So that what is a touchstone. So, see the realized soul kept that touchstone in the garbage. No taste for that. That stone will give everything, all the material opulence. But for the realized yogi, this gold also same, the stone also same, the pebble also same, because it is a matter. That is the understanding. So in this way, one could understand how the second symptom of a advanced stage of a yogi, or another name called yoga ruda stage. This is the second symptom. What is the third symptom? Let us see. That is the last sloka. So here in this sloka, Krishna mentioned Suhur, well-wisher, Mitra, benefactor, Ari, enemy, Udashina, neutral between belligerents. So the first two is Suhura and Mitra. This Mitra is slightly advanced than this well-wisher. Well-wisher will give only the theoretical or some moral support, but this Mitra will go to the next stage, will act for the yogi or another person. And then the third, totally opposite, contradictory, Ari, enemies. And then Udashina, neutrals between, belligerents. And then Madhyastha, mediator between, belligerents. Somebody, will come like that. So somebody helped, being a mediator like that. Next, Dvesha. Dvesha means envious. The person, who is not at all happy with the progress of, someone. So that nature we called, envious. And then Bandhushu. The relatives are well-wisher. Relatives and well-wisher. Bandhushu means. And then Sadhushu, the pious person. And then Papeshu, the sinner. There are 9 items Krishna gives in this sloka. All these, differences, the characteristics of a person or the relationship or the qualities of the person. In that way, one could, understand this. But what is the take home from this, this 9th sloka is all about the true yogi will come out of all this. He will look at in a equal stage. So in 5th chapter, 18th sloka, Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Astini Sunichaiva Swapakecha Panditaha Samadarshanaha. So in this verse 5.18, Krishna says Pandita Samadarshanaha. Pandita means those who are wise. Samadarshanaha means who sees with equal vision. Right? So here, see, when I think anything is material, though I know all these, different qualities of a person or different, discrimination of a person, one could understand. But the true yogi who reaches the perfectional stage, they will attain the stage, or this is the symptom of a highest perfectional stage of a yogi. Pandita Samadarshanaha. The one who will attain, this particular stage. This is the third symptom of Yoga Rudha stage. So this is the, short, what I can say, the understanding about all these 3 slokas. And once again, I would like to summarize what we learned from these 3 slokas are from 7th sloka, completely neutral to all material existence and dualities. And then the second, the 8th sloka sees all object equally, pebbles, gold, stone. Finally satisfied by jnana and vijnana. Fully satisfied by jnana and vijnana. That means theoretical as well as practical. Then the third one, the third sloka, that is 9th sloka, sees all people equally, most advanced stage. So these are the 3 symptoms of what to say, the Yoga Rudha stage. And if the mind is made a friend, so yesterday, last Sunday, Vidura Prabhu elaboratedly, gave knowledge for this 6th sloka. I'd like to, bring that, understanding also. If the mind is made a friend as per 6.6 verse, the following symptoms develop, right? So in the 6th sloka, friend as well as, enemy like that. So if really it could be a friend with the, realization, the following symptoms develop as the realization deepen and grow in the sequence of what we mentioned, right? So the realizations deepen. When the yogi, one who advances with so many mechanisms, Prabhupada mentioned from the purport, that particular realizations deepen and grow in these stages. These are the three stages. The most advanced stage is sees all people equally. Before that, fully satisfied with jnana and vijnana, sees all object equally, pebbles, gold, and stone. If anything is matter, no value for it. If anything is spiritual, then there is a value for it. Then in the seventh sloka, completely neutral to all material existence and dualities. So these are the symptoms of a true yogi, or the symptoms of yogaruda stage. So that is the reason we have chosen the 7, 8, and 9 sloka. So with this, I would like to conclude the purport of these 3 verses. And once again, thanks for the opportunity to Vidra Prabhu and all the senior devotees, for all of you, for hearing patiently. Hare Krishna. If there is any suggestions or any questions, if possible, I will try to attempt, or senior devotees can will give the details. Hare Krishna. Thanks for hearing all the devotees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna.
Prabhuji, first of all, thanks for explaining it and summarizing in a very point-to-point manner. The 3 stages, that's easy to understand. You made it easy to understand for me. Okay. So, Prabhuji, one question, Prabhu. A little bit relevant to these slokas or may not be, but more or less similar. So, we understand from Prabhupada's books that Jnana Yogi generally merge into Brahman, impersonal Brahman. Okay. Devotee go to Vaikuntha or Golokunda with the Bhagavan picture. But Ashtanga Yogis, at least I could not make out. Ashtanga Yogis, what is the end point for them? That I got little bit. Yeah, so can you explain further on?
Yeah, good question, Prabhu. I thought of covering, one particular chart through this. So the yoga ladder starts with animal life, and then karma kanda and human life. And what is the position of the person? I will tell you. Here, interested in satisfying material desires. So this animal life as well as karma kanda, human life. Karma kanda, the fruity workers. So I will do this, I will get this benefit. I will go and perform this homa, I will get this benefit. Interested in satisfying material desires. And this karma yogi. Next is karma yogi, which helps to pull a person to sattva guna, goodness. That is the stage of jnana yoga. Now I'll come to slightly, to your question. From jnana yoga, directly one could reach Brahman realization. Jnana yoga. And your question is very perfect. You asked for, this, what do you call, Ashtanga yoga. Your question is about jnana yoga, yogi and Ashtanga yogi, right, Prabhu? You asked about, these two. So this jnana yogi stage is directly they can jump from this stage to Brahman realization. The next is the Ashtanga yogi. This Ashtanga yogi means within the realm of the modes. That is a position of the Ashtanga yogi. This Ashtanga yogi can directly get into Brahman realization or Paramatma realization. And the liberation or beyond the modes. That means Ashtanga yogi is still with the realm of the modes. Right? So there is no Shuddha Sattva. Still that person belongs to this Sattva Guna. Sattva Guna also realm of the modes. And then liberation beyond the modes. That means Shuddha Sattva. Who can go to this Shuddha Sattva stage means These are the two, parallel process. The Jnana yogis directly jump into this Brahman realization. Ashtanga yoga moves to Brahman realization as well as Paramatma realization. Here, recommended Ashtanga yogi has got two choices, either Brahman realization or Paramatma realization. This Jnana yogi does not have directly go to Paramatma realization. So that is today's topic is Ashtanga yogi. This Ashtanga yogi can fall into Brahman realization also. This Ashtanga yogi can go to Paramatma realization if he is falling into beyond the modes. Paramatma realization with the help of Bhakti yogi. Jnana yogi or a Bhakti yoga. So that is the cream of, the cream of what, Prabhupada, had given, or Krishna given to us, this Bhakti yoga in the middle, that is from 7th chapter to 6 chapters. That means 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Up to 12th chapter deals about Bhakti yoga. So now we are in this stage of understanding this particular Ashtanga yoga, and Paramatma realization is the today's verse also emphasized. And here there is a possibility of, by mistake, one can get into Brahman realization if the person within the realm of the modes. Otherwise, happily they will go to Paramatma realization. From Paramatma realization, they will take devotional service and then they reach the Bhagavan realization. Hare Krishna. I hope your question is Jnana Yogi. Jnana Yogi also put nothing wrong in that. Through staircase they are reaching to Brahman realization. But Ashtanga Yogi has got a choice to go by lift to reach the Bhagavan realization. Hare Krishna. I hope I try to do justice for what you asked. Otherwise, Vidra Prabhu could add any other points to this. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, thanks. It's perfect explanation. It's very clear cut chart, Prabhuji. Thanks for clarification. I got it.
Thanks for
Prabhuji, if you don't mind, can you share the chart on our group?
Yeah, I will share in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So can you put that chart up again once more, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so to be clear,
yeah,
if you want to follow the process of the ladder, you may go through this process. And what is said is, from Jnana Yoga, you can go to Brahman realization. Or if you choose to go up further to Ashtanga Yoga, you have two choices. That means generally people, if you see the purpose of Ashtanga Yoga is connect with the Paramatma. That was discussed in the 7th verse, right? It was discussed with the 7th verse, where the purpose of Ashtanga Yoga means you are getting darshan of the Supreme Lord in the heart as the Paramatma.
That is a goal.
That is the goal. So if you really attain that goal, naturally it will put you towards the Bhakti Yoga Marga, because you have seen the person there, not the Brahmanda. But if you have practiced it wrongly, you may land up with the impersonalist image, and therefore you may go to Brahman realization. That is the end of it. Like this. Now, but at the same time, at any point in time, one can directly jump onto the Bhakti Yoga. That is the most important thing, that one necessarily need not follow this process to get to the Bhakti Yoga process. Anyone can take to the Bhakti Yoga process, and therefore I just want to come to a point I wanted to just also highlight on this 3 verses done by Vidra Prabhu, by Achyuta Prabhu. Very nice class, Prabhu. Very nicely elaborated, getting into each of the technicalities. Thank you very much. Now the practical application of that is something which I thought I should share. That means, and more connected to here, so that means an Ashtanga yogi basically should connect to the Paramatma. After connecting with Paramatma, what is the job? Right, you take all the effort to connect with the Paramatma. After that, what? After that, you have to follow his instruction. Right, once you connect with the master, then your trouble is over. You simply follow the master. That's what it is, right? You go all the way to in your corporate life also, wherever you struggle hard to reach the top person, and once you are in connection with the top person, then what do? It doesn't, you simply you don't relax, right? After that you work very closely with the top person. So if you are like, when you are growing up, you can go up to the CEOs, close, direct means one who is reporting to the CEO. After that, it's not like that fellow is now, simply his purpose of working hard to come to the CEO's office, next to the CEO's office, is therefore work more closer with the CEO, under his direction, right? Don't ask me, I am working to become the CEO in spiritual life, because CEO is the Krishna, nobody else can. Then you are in the Brahmanda realization mode. If you think you are the CEO, then you go out there and then there you stop. And you are not really the CEO, but you will have to again come back here to think that you are CEO. The material, that's how the whole thing is there. Because you will be stuck in this thinking that you are the CEO. You come back into the material world and keep having various desires. But the point is, you should be able to come to this point of, I will work under the direction of the CEO, in this case, Krishna. Now, so normally for all of us, we are not at the perfectional stage of Ashtanga Yoga, neither are we in the perfect stage of Bhakti Yoga. So what happens? That is why here, that next verse, if you really see Yoga Marga, therefore how do I do it is, the clue is given that you connect with the pure devotee of the Lord, which means we accept them as our spiritual master and follow their instruction. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada. You sing in our morning Manglarti. Whatever is the words of the spiritual master is not non-different from the words of the Supreme Lord. So you accept, so you can connect with the spiritual master directly. He is physically present in this world. We can easily hear his words. It's not like Krishna's word. I don't know what Krishna is saying, but Guru is speaking. We can hear his voice. We can try to understand. Sometimes we put mail and he responds back also. Very clear. Right now, you can connect with the Guru. There's a lot of facilities available to connect with the Guru, and his senior disciples are our senior God brothers, who are very intimately connected with the Guru. So all these things. So that way we take the instructions of the Lord here also, but through the Guru, and whatever Guru says, we simply implement. And when we do that, the symptoms what Prabhu said, we will also be able to see that. So that is the only thing that I wanted to share my thoughts on this. How do we practically apply that, this knowledge that we got? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks, Prabhu, much for elaborating. Thanks, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So you're taking us from Karma Kanda life to directly Bhakti Yoga. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Sir, one more thing. I thought Paramatma realization and Bhagavan realization, both are same. I thought.
No,
Yeah,
they are not.
Here that chart. No, you want to know whatever these are.
No, she thought Paramatma realization and Bhagavan realization are the same.
Same.
So you may want to explain what is the difference between Paramatma and Bhagma.
Yes. Prabhu, you can tell better, I think.
Okay, so see this Paramatma realization, Paramatma is also Lord only. Right? Like, for example, there are various incarnations of the Lord. There is Narsimhadev, there is Rama, there is Varaha, there is, many of the incarnations of the Lord. Like that, the Paramatma realization is also one of the, one of the versions of the Lord. But then, this Paramatma realization is only in the material world. You cannot see the Paramatma in the spiritual world. That means, how do you understand this? The Paramatma will guide you up to the point you reach to the boundaries of the material world. Post that, you are handed over directly to the directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person. He is actually situated in Goloka Vrindavan. and he has got nothing to do with material world. Krishna says, right, while I am in them, but I am not in them also. He says, while I am, everything is strung like a garland in, beads strung in a garland. And, I am in everything, but I am not in everything. How do you understand this? Which means he's got a personality and he's in the spiritual world. He's not here in the material world. But he's represented in the material world. He's represented, just like if you see the prime minister or the president of this country, he is not in, for example, he is not in all the departments of the government, right? But then he is sitting in the whatever, Rashtrapati Bhavan. Physically, he is there in the Rashtrapati Bhavan. But everything, all departments are working under the jurisdiction of the president of this country, right? The sales tax officer, the income tax officer, all of them are actually a representative of the president. Without that ability, these people don't have any power. They are deriving the power from the president, even though the president is not physically present in the particular government office. So like this, the spiritual Lord is sitting in Vrindavan, Goloka Vrindavan, or wherever he may be doing a pastime, physically in some planet. But he is there also present with each one of us simultaneously through this representative called Paramatma. But that Paramatma feature is only up to the point you are reaching the, the boundary of the material world and the spiritual world. Once you cross over to the spiritual world, you are directly in control of the Supreme Lord. So there is a difference. Paramatma is only for material world. Same lords, like how you have a deity at home, right? You have a deity at home. That deity is not different from Krishna. But you should understand the deity as a representation of that original personality of Godhead. The same way in your heart, the Paramatma is there, but he is a representative of the spiritual Supreme Lord. That is only applicable up to the point of material world. You go to the spiritual world, you don't see Paramatma there. You see the Supreme Lord directly. One sense it is same, in another sense it is different. The finer aspect of how it is different. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams.
Wonderful
explanation. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Very wonderful explanation, Prabhu. Very detailed. It shows like, to do such an extent of detail, you must have gone through a lot of preparation. But see, wonderful. You made it
very short time I gave him. I told him today morning, I think. Today morning or yesterday evening, I told him.
Yesterday night.
Yeah, yesterday night. Literally end of day yesterday. He is prepared in just whatever, so less time. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. I mean, like they say, you kind of spoon-fed us by making it very easy to understand. Very detailed, Prabhuji. Sorry, because of some network delay, I couldn't hear some portion. You mentioned something about 4S, Prabhu. If I remember, if I noted it right, I missed some points. So one was satisfied. First one, is that correct, Prabhu? And what were the other three, Prabhu? The last one is scholarship, but the other two in between, I think I missed.
No, I'll repeat the 4S. This point comes under, this S comes under a Krishna consciousness person is a self-realized soul. Okay. So self-realized soul means how to understand. Then this 4S comes. So this 4S is satisfied. That means satisfied means with the devotional service. Satisfied with the devotional service. So then they are realized soul. Then second S is steady. In conviction by strength of his realized knowledge. Convictions. That gives the steadiness. That is the second one. And the third is self. Controlled by the strength of controlled. Earlier is conviction, and now self means controlled by the strength of his realized knowledge. Then the fourth one, as you mentioned, scholarship. That means, mundane scholarship. And mental speculation, which are gold, which are gold to others, are as good as pebbles or stones. That is understanding about that.
Okay.
If anything is matter, so that mundane scholarship no value. Hare Krishna. These are
thank you, Prabhu. Very, 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 very crystal clear description he gave. Very
all glories
point.
to Prabhupada. Part is more than enough to either spoon feed or whatever the feed, I don't know. As you mentioned, but Prabhupada already given everything, clearly. So where to give purport, where not to give purport, also, Prabhupada very, clearly mentioned. All glories to Prabhupada and Gurus. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thanks for understanding. Hare Krishna. And I thank Hitesh Prabhu. When I was preparing, I got the same doubt. Then I took the ladder, the yoga ladder reference. Thanks for the nice question, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful explanation. And,
Yes.
Especially that ladder that you mentioned, it has given a very nice picture to the whole concept. I never saw this ladder before. So, although it is there in theoretical concepts, but to put in a form of a diagram makes it very clear. And, thank you for the explanation and a wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. This class started from the verses which you started earlier. That means
this whole chapter is that only.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Any more suggestions, comments? Otherwise, over to Vidura Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so if there is no more questions or comments, thank you all very much. Thanks to His Grace Padmanabha Achyuta Prabhu for enlightening all of us nicely in these 3 verses.
All your mercy, Hare Krishna.
Looking forward to more such wisdom from Prabhu and
only a repeater.
yes, we need
no question of wisdom.
No, if you repeat, you are perfect. If you are putting your own thoughts, that's the problem. So, in Parampara, that's the most important thing. You simply repeat the spiritual master's words. Hare Krishna. That's itself is a big qualification. Hare Krishna. So, thank you all. So, we will catch up next.
It's more difficult, Prabhuji, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we can put our 5-10% our thought, some masala, it is relatively easy. But to put it as it is in the parampara, that's why it requires a lot of preparation, I feel. It's tough that way.
Very true.
And only some enlightened person can give proper justice to the class.
Very true.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all. So we will catch up next week with yet another session of Bhagavad Gita. In the meantime, happy chanting, happy reading, happy prasadam, honoring Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, devotees on the YouTube. Hare Krishna.